Ian, first spot together. What's going on, buddy? How are you, man? Hello.
Very happy for you guys.
Okay.
Welcome. This is very, very cool. I am excited about all of this and good to be with you.
Appreciate that. I mean, but what else would you say? I mean, I believe you, but you kind of have to say that.
Well, no, I could have just rolled with it business as usual and just been like, hey guys, it's good to be here. And that would have been it. But I am truly happy. I'm very happy for you guys.
Thanks, man.
I mean, we're okay.
I believe him.
We're okay after
a week.
Not even quite a week. Ian, obviously the big thing that we've been talking about this week has been the Giants and what they're going to do front office wise. I believe, and I think I've heard, that they are reaching out to people. How is the Dave Gettleman era going to end? And then who's the big target, if there is one?
Yeah, I would say first, as far as how it's going to end, the Giants have always done things in a really good first-class way. I think that's, pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So even though this is a situation where it's clear that they are moving on, I would expect it to be some sort of a retirement. And I think for Dave Gettleman, who is, you can argue about whether or not you would take a running back, early in the first round, or you could argue about, some of the picks he's made. You can't argue that Gettleman is not a good guy. I think he'll be treated as such, and my expectation is that it'll be a retirement, just given where he is, with his age, and I think he'll happily drive out to the Cape and, can kind of continue his new life. As far as potential targets, I think the most important thing to me is, and I've seen all the reports about keeping Judge. I would expect the same. I haven't heard any different. If something happens, I would be stunned with Joe Judge. So if that's the case, then you got to bring in someone who's aligned with him. You got to make sure that everyone is on the same page with his vision and the kind of players you want and how the players you want fit the coaches who are there.
Yeah.
Everyone you have to be picking players for the coaches to use. And I think any target would have to include someone from that background.
Yeah, so that leaves a couple of follow questions. One, does that give an advantage to Abrams, who's already there, Kevin Abrams, or is it someone who, I don't know, say a Bill Belichick? Like, I'm trying to figure out who that would be.
Yeah.
Doesn't that undercut hiring a new GM, a new voice, by saying, you know what, you're ladled with the head coach, and whatever he wants to do, you have to do, and that's the only reason we're going to hire you. You know what I mean? It's like almost backwards in a sense.
Yeah, and I don't think it would be like that. And there's a lot of successful franchises in the NFL who have, the head coach hired first, and then the GM whose job it is to find great players for that coach. Kansas City's doing pretty well. Mm-hmm. Seattle is a bad year this year, but John Schneider is one of the best general managers in the NFL, and his job is to find great players that Pete Carroll and his coaches can use. Les Snead, another example with the Rams. He was actually there first, but Sean McVay has the juice in LA, and Les's job is to find players for Sean McVay. He does a fantastic job. So that model can work.
Yeah.
As far as some names, I'll give you a couple. You have Monty Ossenfort, who's a former Patriots lieutenant, very well respected, I believe, with Tennessee. He's a name to consider. You have Dave Ziegler, who did a great job in New England this year, but is not officially the GM. Whoa, my lights just came on. That's crazy. Hello. That's what happens as we get closer to showtime. DeJuan Daniels is with the Raiders. Mike Mayock may be out, but the product on the field has been pretty decent, actually. He's another name to consider. Those, and then there'll be others without his background who will interview, and then Judge may say, you know what, we speak a different language, because scouting is all about language. We speak a different language, but I like you so much, and this organization likes you so much, that we are going to make this work and get aligned.
Gotcha. So we're talking to Ian Rapoport, NFL Network. He's with us here on Tiki and Tierney WFAN. So I'm with you. Tiki is with you. Not that we're saying Joe Judge is Vince Lombardi, but we would be given the circumstances, we would both bring back Joe Judge. I think you're right. Ultimately, he will be back. Okay. So, but if he were fired, and again, we don't think he will be, but if he were fired, nobody's lining up to hire Joe Judge as their head coach the next day or the next week or the next month. But if the Giants moved on from Daniel Jones, who we also don't think that they will, there would be teams that are interested because of his skill set. He could throw, he could run, even though he's a little bit banged up. I see potential, Ian, for an Alex Smith rehabilitation with the right stuff around him. Do you still have any faith that Jones could be the guy?
Yeah, I kind of do. And, I would say if you had to give me a lie detector test right now, like what is going to happen? My guess is they bring him back. Now, will they be open to upgrading? I mean, there's a couple superstar quarterbacks who are out there. Like, it would be malpractice to not look into it. But my guess is they probably bring him back. Whether or not, regardless of what they do with the fifth-year option, they probably bring him back. I have no idea what Daniel Jones is going to be. The offensive coordinator this year was not good. I mean, it's just not good. And it was ill-fitting.
Yeah.
Like, if he was in a Kyle Shanahan type system where he could be on the move, we had a productive run game where, they could create matchups and kind of get him on the edge. Like, I think he could be good. He is a great athlete. So I would like to there's been times where I've watched him and said, I can see why this guy's a franchise quarterback. Just kind of weird injuries. And like, I don't know if that's his fault, but it's just kind of happened. So like, I could see a rehabilitation somewhere. And so like, if you're the Giants, you'd sort of rather be with yourself.
Yeah, I would agree with that,
okay.
Which is why I just don't have the answer. So I can't move on yet without an answer, especially when the alternative
that's the biggest point.
Is not clear, right? You could go get Russell Wilson or maybe even Aaron Rodgers
Baker,
or
if you
Deshaun
want.
Watson. Or
why would you do that, though?
But you don't. Those aren't certainties, and so it's really hard to move on. Outside the Giants, real quick, even though people have been speculating that it's tied to the Giants, what are you hearing about Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, and potential that he's coming back to the National Football League? I think that this probably is smoke. He got a pay cut last year. He had a humongous success, at least in the Big Ten this year. He wants his payback. This feels like he's using this as a little bit of a lifter to his pocketbook. What are we hearing about Harbaugh?
Kind of does, right? I'm kind of on the same page. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I dismissed Harbaugh rumors to Michigan naively back in the day. And then, of course, he went there. And everyone in the NFL was like, this is ridiculous. It's a joke. And everyone in Michigan's like, yeah, he's coming, so leave me alone. He took a pay cut last year. He went through this whole thing about how money doesn't matter and he's not interested in money. My experience is when people say it's not about the money, a lot of times it's about the money.
It's always about the money.
Yeah, it's always about the money.
Yeah. It's always about the money. So it's a perfect time for Harbaugh rumors to crop up. And does he end up with a big extension over the next couple of days that kind of makes this whatever? Like, I think it's possible. I would say this, I think the Raiders swung really big at John Gruden, got who they wanted, and it ended how it ended. Would they do the exact same thing for Harbaugh? I don't know.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
So Ian, I want to switch it up here. Not a ton of time, but we're talking to Ian Rapoport, NFL Network, Tiki, and Tierney, WFAN. I tweeted this the other day, and I know the 4th and 2 play with the Jets didn't work out, and there was different interpretations of what went wrong. Barrio should have gotten the ball, the A-gap, whatever. I got to tell you, I mean, from where I'm sitting, and I watch every snap of both the Jets and the Giants, but I think the Jets nailed their OC. I love there's a relative dearth of talent, and this guy is showing aptitude every week more and more. What is the rest of the league? I'm not saying they're saying he's the next Mahomes, but is there conviction to an extent around the NFL that the Jets might actually have something with the OC quarterback combo?
I'd say it's starting to look like that. Rookie quarterbacks are the worst because they make us all stupid. They make us dumb.
So true.
Because
Jones looks pretty good.
He does look good. That's true. But is Trey Lance good or is he not good?
Don't know yet.
What about Trevor Lawrence?
But he's played poorly.
You watch them play. We had no idea about Patrick Mahomes until week 17 when he looked really competent. Aaron Rodgers didn't play for 2 years. No one has any idea what he looked like. But the problem with playing a rookie quarterback is we have to judge, because this is what we do, based on playing at a time when they probably shouldn't be playing. So it just makes us dumb. So the first half of the year, everyone was like, oh, the Jets clearly missed. And then you watch the last half of the season and, I think with LaFleur, he is a guy that football people have always thought there's a lot there. I've always thought he's a bright young coach. He's very young, but a bright young coach. When White was in there, you started to say, okay, this Jets offense can really function. Okay, there's something here. And then Zach gets back in there, and you're starting to see slowly signs of why the Jets took him. You have to catch your breath, and you have to look around. You have to get your bearings. Like, it is all so off-putting to be out there and so unprepared. Like, no one has said to me over the last 2 months or month and a half, like, the Jets miss. But plenty of people have said, like, yeah, Zach looked pretty good, which is what you want.
It's a start. All right, we got 10 seconds.
Start.
Give us a lock. We want to make some money this weekend. Who are we betting on? Give us one team. What do we got?
No, geez.
Come on.
I am not a gambler. I am not a gambler.
We
I
don't
would
need the
say
disclaimers. We just need winners.
it doesn't sound like the Bengals are playing a lot of people. Doesn't sound like the Cowboys are playing a lot. I mean, that's what this week is going to be about, right? Who's playing who? There's going to be a lot of teams resting a lot of guys, so I would pay attention to that. That was more than 10
Ian, good spot, man. We will do it again next week and hopefully again next year. It's Ian Rapoport, NFL Network. Must follow on Twitter. Thanks a lot, bud. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Ian.
All right, good stuff, guys. Good hanging. Take
No
care.
doubt.